let's talk Blanchon Intensiv lacquer. So Blanchon Intensiv is a two-part lacquer specifically for sort of high traffic areas. So whether it's high traffic domestic or commercial, as it says, schools, offices, hotels, these places. I would say this was Blanchon's sort of premium lacquer, if you like, which does come with a premium price tag as well. But I think it definitely is worth the actual price itself. So I've used this in a few jobs now on pine and oak flooring, and in both jobs it performed really, really well. You combine it with, you can do a few things with Blanchon Intensiv. So it comes in about 6 different finishes. You've got invisible effect, bare timber, gloss, ultra matte, satin and matte. And the two I've played around with is bare timber and the invisible effect, which is what this one is here. The invisible effect is it's got another advantage. You can buy it in a bigger quantity. So I've got the big 9 litre top here. Add in the hardener and you've got 10 litres of lacquer there, so which is good being able to buy it in a slightly larger quantity. So with the invisible effect, if you're thinking about cost, you can cut costs a little bit by using the Blanchon's sealer. So that's the primer, which leaves the wood in its sort of lightest form. So it'll give the same effect, the sealer, as the actual invisible lacquer will itself. And obviously primer is cheaper than lacquer, so it makes sense to do that. So the primer is maybe about 90 minutes, and afterwards you can put the lacquer on top. So the first time I used it was on oak flooring, so that was a solid oak flooring, which will pop up a photo in a second. Just a couple of quick photos showing the before and after. The second one shows it more. It's the best one I could find with it showing it being nice and white, the invisible one. That shows the sort of before and after. It does look a bit darker in the photos than what it actually was, and that's simply just the time of day. It was quite a dark sort of house itself with natural lighting. So I really liked using Intensiv. It actually rolled on really nicely, whether it was the oak floor or the old pine floors. It just rolled on nicely. Cutting back between the sort of first and second coat of it was no issues at all there. And the actual final look itself is nice, high quality. And the high quality finish is definitely up there alongside of sort of Woba, Palman, Bonner. No question about that at all. In terms of, you've got your fire rating as well, which is handy on this, and it's also very low sort of emissions, VOC levels as well, so it ticks all the boxes for sort of healthy indoor air for clients or in your own home. So with it, so primer and first coat of lacquer on, and then come back the next day. So what I tend to do, cut back that first coat of the lacquer. I normally use the Norton yellow sand dollar discs, which leave a nice smooth finish on that first coat. And also there's quite a lack of dust from the Norton sand dollar discs, simply because anything that does take off the lacquer seems to just get sucked into the pads. So the downside is the pads don't last as long as, say, just the yellow pads. So once the first coat's been cut back, just mix up the second one, roll it on, and that's it. Good to go after that. Unless it's commercial or the customer's requesting a third coat on top, which is essentially 4 coats, because you've got your primer, which is a build coat, and then 3 more of the lacquer on top itself. And yeah, customers have been happy with this lacquer so far. Feedback's been good. It seems to be quite a very, very durable lacquer. I've got one family, it's been down about 18 months, and they've got an exceptionally busy household with 3 boys, I think anywhere from the ages of 7 to 10, and lots of family in the place all the time, and that's kitchen, diner and sort of utility room and cloakroom. And so far the customer says that it's standing up nicely. It looks, when it's cleaned, it just looks just as good as when it went down, so They've not had any problems with sort of scratching or scuffing or anything like this. Another customer, they got it on a pine floor, and their house was still a building site during it after I'd left the house, so it had a lot of wear on it in a short space of time. And she said it really, from a couple of sort of scuffs perhaps from builders and things, the floor was absolutely perfect. So that was a good. It's good to get feedback on these. Otherwise, if customers don't give you feedback, we're really not going to know. The same as manufacturers and reps and stuff like this, we're just not going to know. So would I use Intensiv? Again, as I say, yes I would. Very, very good lacquer to use. I don't have the board with me right now, but I did test it bare timber on oak. And when doing the bare one, you don't want to use the primer because it can ruin the actual the final effect. And I was quite surprised with the bare timber one. I did 3 coats with it, and it felt like there was no lacquer on it. There was no real build. Yet when I put water and coffee and stuff on the board, it all just sat there. So there was, I knew there was lacquer, but it felt almost like it was an oiled floor, which I wasn't quite expecting. So I'm certainly looking for more. I've done one small pine job with that, but I'm looking for more oak ones to hopefully go. So it's definitely a good alternative to some of the other options that are out there. So some of the other brands out there, they package up different finishes, whether it's ones that are equivalent to bare timber or invisible, into different actual products, and then obviously the pricing changes, and it seems to be for some brands it's the lighter the finish and the more sort of as if back to the sanded look almost, the higher the price seems to go. So it is quite good with Blanchon how it's just one product with different finishes at the same price. So there we go, there's a review on Blanchon Intensiv. So any comments or anything, questions, just leave them in the area beneath. And the same with hit the subscription button just to keep up with new videos which should be coming weekly. So yeah, great, have a good weekend guys.